Elizabeth Flores,
Present.
Jessica Goicochea Paris, Rhonda Lawrence will be absent as well, Leanne McCauley Larson,
Here.
Sarah Porter,
Present.
Paige Samples,
Present.
Natalie Sanchez,
Here.
Lieutenant Colonel Scott Codwell,
Yes, ma'am.
Misty Vaughn Allen,
Here.
and Annie Zucker.
I'm here.
Thank you. Roll call has been taken, Chair.
Thank you. Next item on our opening items is the Pledge of Allegiance. I would like to ask Trustee Jeff Church to lead us in the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Takes us into item 1.04, public comment. Madam Secretary, do we have any public comment?
That's just, no.
So we do it for action items, and then there's a general at the end.
Okay.
Yes. That's just explaining.
Okay.
Yes.
I apologize. We're going to move into item 2, which is our items for presentation, discussion, information, and/or action. Just a reminder to the audience, all of our action items are available for public comment, which will take us into item 2.01, which is action to adopt the agenda. Looking for a motion to approve the agenda for today.
This is Misty Allen. I move to approve the agenda as written.
Thank you.
Darren Bale, I second it.
Thank you. With that, I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Any public comment?
No public comment.
Thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Sounds like motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 2.02 is discussion and possible action to select a chair of the Safe and Healthy Schools Commission for the 2023-24 school year from among the following: Misty Vaughn Allen, Darren Balaam, Scott Benton, Shelley Buchanan, Charlene Bybee, Scott Caldwell, Zara Darby, Elizabeth Flores, Rhonda Lawrence, Leanne McCauley, Jessica Gogochea Perez, Sarah Porter, Paige Samples, Natalie Sanchez, and Annie Zucker. This is for possible action. Before we entertain anything from the commission, do we have public comment on this item?
We do not have public comment on this item.
Thank you. I'll bring it back to the commission.
He wanted to provide public comment on 1.4. I thought it was at the end. Apologies.
See, the published agenda says it's right here. Sorry, please allow me some time.
The general public comment is in 3.01.
It's towards the end.
Yeah, so this, it says public comment, I really know how we do this. It's just explaining what the public comment, it says
Okay.
that you can do on any action item, and then general is at the end.
Do you want to read that into the record so he hears it from you?
Unless you want to move it, so does he have to leave?
I'm okay moving it or having
Does
two
he-
sessions.
Does he have to leave?
Do you want to go ask him?
Yeah.
Okay, so we do have a public comment that we are going to go back to. However, I'm in the middle of item 2.02, so I want to close this out before I go back to the public comment, if that is okay. Perfect. So hearing that, item 2.02 is the discussion of the selection of a chair, so I'm going to open it up to the commission.
This is Misty Allen. I would like to nominate Scott Benton to continue his role as chair if he would accept that.
Certainly will. Thank you. Any other selections?
I have no further selections. Darren Balin for the record, but I would second that.
Thank you. So I will take that in the form of a motion from Ms. Devon Allen and a second from Sheriff Balaam. Any discussion from the commission? Hearing none, we have called for public comment on this item, so we'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Misty. At this time, I am going to move item 3.01, which is our public comment section, to this moment. Madam Secretary, do we have any public comment?
We do have public comment today, Chair, from Trustee Jeff Church.
Thank you. Welcome, Trustee Church.
Thank you very much. Sorry to get off to a bad start, but just that way I don't have to stay for the whole meeting if I have other obligations. My name is Jeff Church. I am a elected trustee for the Washoe County School District, but it's very important that I explain that any views expressed today are mine, potentially mine alone. Number one, I want to thank everybody for the attendance. I know we've had problems in the past. We're going to see if we can double your pay. So, except for you, Sheriff, it doesn't apply to the county, but definitely appreciate all that you do on the committee. It's an extremely important committee. And as such, I want to tell you that I attended a National School Safety Conference in Las Vegas. Again, nationally attended. I wanted to share some things with you. Number one, I have a handout for you with some stats from Washoe County and some that reflect my opinion. The one handout you'll notice reflects the first 110 days of last year's school district. So my question is, what about the next part of that? That was March. So what are our stats for the end of the school year? Are we improving? Are we not improving? Where do we need to focus? And then there were other stats that were far too long to print that I forwarded to the secretary, who hopefully will forward them to you. And I think my main point is that violence in the schools is a major problem. Violence against staff, violence student on student. We have students that are not appearing because they're afraid for their own safety. In other words, good kids that are truant because they're afraid for their safety. So I really would ask this committee and this commission to focus more on violence in the schools, maybe a little less on SEL and some of those issues. This is a paramount issue. You can see the quotes from the governor in there. I would urge you also to try to get a briefing on gangs from our gang unit officer at the school district or some gang unit officer, as well as we had an excellent presentation at that national conference on social media and how kids communicate with each other, including about criminal activity, but it was just riveting. The use of social media was far above anything that I understood. So I think that you as a committee or board would benefit from that, from hearing about gangs and the social media that they use. Again, I mentioned the attendance, how I thank you. I think there's 5 people absent, if I counted right. I understand people have things going on in their life, but if you can't, this is such an important committee, if you can't attend regularly, then maybe it's not for those people that can't attend, and maybe they need to be asked to open it up to somebody else. Because again, this is probably the most important, at least in my opinion, the most important board or committee that the Board of Trustees have. And in closing, again, a reminder, the views expressed are mine. Thank you, and thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you. Sylvia, any other public comment?
No other public comment, Chair.
Thank you. Hearing that, we'll bring it back to item 2.03, which is the discussion and possible action to select a vice chair of the Safe and Healthy Schools Commission for the years 2023-2024 school year from among the following individuals: Ms. Yvonne Allen, Darren Balaam, Shelley Buchanan, Charlene Bybee, Scott Caldwell, Zara Darby, Elizabeth Flores, Rhonda Lawrence, Leanne McCauley, Jessica Goguchia Perez, Sarah Porter, Peg Samples, Natalie Sanchez, and Annie Zucker. Prior to me turning it over to the commission, do we have any public comment on this item?
No public comment.
Thank you. Bring it back to the commission. I look at her. I will I would like to nominate Natalie Sanchez to serve another year as our vice chair of the Safe and Healthy Schools Commission.
This is Misty Allen. I'd like to second that nomination.
Hearing that, is there any discussion?
I accept, yes, thank you.
I'm all kicking her under the.
Yeah.
All right, hearing no discussion, we are going to call for the vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Welcome back. All right, we will move into item 2.04, which is the approval of the minutes from our June 5th, 2023 meeting of the Safe and Healthy Schools Commission. Again, this is for possible action. So we turn it to the commission to see if there's any changes that need to be made. Hearing none, I will send it over to our recording secretary to see if we have any public comment on this item.
No public comment.
Thank you. I'll bring it back to the commission for a motion should that be desired.
Darren Band, for the record, I'd make a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
Thank you. I have a motion. Is there a second?
This is Natalie Sanchez, I second.
Thank you, Vice Chair Sanchez. We have a motion from Sheriff Balaam, second by Vice Chair Sanchez. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. For item 2.05, we're going to bring up Dr. Lamarca. It is the review of the goals and objectives of the 2023-24 school year. And again, this is for possible action.
Thank you, President Benton. For the record, Paul Lamarca, Chief Student and Family Supports Officer. That's a change in title. For those of you keeping score, our office name changed from Strategies to the Office of Student and Family Supports. If you guys recall, last year we spent several conversations throughout the fall in defining your goals as a commission for the 22-23 school year, and you adopted those in December. And there was a request to bring those forward to the Board of Trustees, which Chairman Benton and Vice Chair Sanchez took to the board, and the board adopted those, but they recommended a couple of changes, which you guys incorporated at the end of last year. These are the goals that you had for last school year. The additions you'll see under the first goal. They wanted to include online safety. There was also a request to have that as an important topic at the safety forum, which you weren't able to do just given timing. And then if we scroll down under the second goal, they also wanted us, which would fall to staff, but for the commission to review research and provide recommendations regarding bathroom safety, including vaping detection. And in fact, we are likely to bring you a presentation if the chair approves it on vaping detection either in October or November, likely October. So you can do what you want with the goals. Obviously, they're your goals, but I wanted to frame these out for you to see if you wanted to continue these for the 23-24 school year. I'd strongly recommend that you do with goal 1, given the fact that Delisa Crane and her team are going to present to you a draft of the toolkit. That was part of what you wanted to accomplish, but we got to implement that, and you may have some changes that you want to see with that. And there's also this partnership with her parent university in which we're going to be looking at safety-related courses and attendance and satisfaction. So I'm happy to answer any questions, but really I believe this is your discussion.
Thank you. I will bring it back to the commission for some discussion. I'm actually going to turn it over and put her on the spot. Vice Chair and I did present to the Board of Trustees, and I want her to remind us what the discussion was like and how we landed on some of these opportunities to adopt and change some of these goals, if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's fine. Natalie Sanchez for the record. So it seemed like from our time with the Board of Trustees, the focus really was continuing to build the capacities that the school district already has and looking at highlighting some of those things such as parent university. And that's why we asked Delisa Crane and her folks to start working, expanding on those kinds of things. And vaping seemed to be a really big concern. So I think safety in general, not just bathroom safety, but what does vaping look like in the schools? How big of a problem is it? What can we do to be supportive of that? And additionally, the online safety seemed to be a big one as well. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
So hearing what the Board of Commissioners or the Board of Trustees were asking of us back in March, I think we have outlined our goals as to what we had before and with some minor changes. And I wanted to bring it to the commission to either expand these goals or leave them where they're at, but readopt them today moving forward for the 23-24 school year. Any feedback from our friends out there? Lieutenant Caldwell?
Yeah, hey, this is Scott Caldwell, for the record. Just looking at goal number 3, talking about reviewing the training standards. We talk about threat assessment, prevention. Last year, we had a lot of discussions about physical security and things that could be done at the schools. And we know that a lot of those major things cost a lot of money. And again, moving around schools so far this year, I was wondering if it's worth having a discussion to talk about what kind of things can schools do to improve security that don't cost any funding. Just obviously some examples as you walk around about door security inside the building in the classrooms. I went by a couple elementary schools, and when we do our drills, they do their code red drills. The goal is to secure your classroom and be quiet in the classroom to ensure that maybe nobody knows you're in there. And when you go around some of the elementary schools in the classrooms, all the students' bags are hanging outside the classroom on hooks in the hallway. So, immediately you know that there's somebody in there. And I know it sounds like a small thing, but maybe there's some things that could be done that don't cost a lot. I will admit I'm not familiar with some of the school district policies in terms of the security piece, so we would have to kind of look into that and see what our schools already supposed to be doing that maybe they're not doing. But I think taking a look at that maybe and having some discussions to bring that up, I think could be useful addition to that goal.
Thank you for that. So what I'm hearing is the one question is what can schools do to increase safety without increasing the cost? And then maybe we can have a presentation on the district policies around safety and what that looks like so we can all have a better understanding. Does that sound like a fair
Right.
recap?
I think that makes sense. I'll be the ogre to throw it out there because all the students love to have their open lunches, but I can't wrap my head around the concept of trying to keep our students safe when, during lunch we turn them loose and they're roaming the parking lots and all the shopping centers around their schools, and there's just absolutely no way we can keep them safe. And, are we responsible for the students, during those time periods? So I think that's definitely worthwhile.
Thank you.
And maybe along that line, for number 3, it may not cost anything and the school district may be doing it, but it was a conversation we had last week at the Nevada Homeland Security Council. The law, and I didn't write it down and bring it with me, from 2019 where schools had to present their safety plans to law enforcement. We may be doing it. I haven't checked with my intelligence center to see. But again, if the school district has them, how does we as a board help facilitate that so they're sharing with Reno Sparks and Washoe so that we're all on the same board page if something happens?
Thank you. So it sounds like goal number 3 has some work for us to improve on. We did, like our vice chair said, we did get some clear direction from the Board of Trustees. They want us to look into online safety and what that looks like, and then also the vaping and the effects of the safety of the bathrooms on campus. So I think those are some very targeted goals that we can use to align our work throughout the year, but also start framing our safety forum. I think this is a good framework for that. Any other comments from the commission? Being that it's an action item, we are going to take public comment, if there is any public comment.
We do have public comment from trustee Jeff Church.
Thank you. Welcome back.
Thank you very much, and I'll try to be brief. Yeah, number one, I loved what Lieutenant Colonel Caldwell said about maybe getting a briefing, et cetera. Obviously, you see in there some of the emphasis on the physical aspects. The bathrooms, you wouldn't believe the emails we get. We have reports of bathrooms being locked because of vandalism and vaping, and kids have nowhere to go, or they got to literally go, 1,000 feet down the hallway around the corner, and some of them maybe can't make it. So we get reports of UTIs, which you probably know what that is. It's a serious problem. We got to deal with it. And then finally, the other comment I have, when you go through this, your charter and the charter of virtually all committees is to make recommendations to the board. So I look forward to those. We really don't get those very often, and as often as I'd like to see them. So whether it's piecemeal or all at once, but hopefully you'll have agenda items that allow you to actually make recommendations that do come back to us. Because so many times with I think we have 14 different committees and commissions, they meet, but I never see the end result, or seldom, maybe yearly. So that's a big part of my job, is to follow up on your recommendations. So I appreciate anything you do in that regard, but don't be timid. Thank you.
Thank you. Sylvia, do we have any other public comment?
No other public comment, Chair.
Okay, I will bring this back to the commission. Hearing some great ideas. I've taken note. I've looked at Dr. Lamarca's diligently writing out there. What would the commission like to do with this?
This is Misty Allen. I think the recommendation of maintaining these goals for the 23-24 school year is a good recommendation. They're broad enough to incorporate the recommendations under each goal. So I would move that we maintain these goals.
Awesome, thank you. Having a motion, is there a second?
This is Sarah Porter for the record. Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Porter. Is there any discussion from the commission on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Aside from that motion, is there any other action on this agenda item that the commission would like to take? We don't have to be limited to just one motion. No. Okay, we will move on to item 2.06, which is the discussion of Safe and Healthy Schools Toolkit, including a discussion of vaping and efforts to educate parents and guardians. And we're going to bring up Delisa Crane and her team.
Hi, thank you.
Welcome back.
Thank you. For the record, Delisa Crane with Family School Partnerships, and I have with me today some of our team members. Rochelle Salonia, who's the coordinator for parent-teacher home visits across our district, but also our team expert on websites and media. And then we have Selena Verdine, who works with Parent University and specifically in support of safety, mental health, and expanding our course offerings and reaching out to our community. So before I get started, I just want to say this is a draft. And what we hope to do today is to co-construct with you and to get your feedback, not only on the organization of the content, but also the draft web design, which will be the final product that Rochelle has put together. So we are connecting everything to our strategic plan and our
Really quick,
Oh,
I
sure.
don't mean to interrupt you. Those that are on Teams can see this presentation, correct? They should, okay, thank you.
No.
That's what I was afraid of. Sorry.
I don't see it on the screen, but I can pull it up on my computer.
Yeah, no, we can't.
Okay,
No.
thank you. Okay, are we able to see that?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes. Yep.
All right, Delisa, sorry for that interruption.
That's okay. So just to connect it, Sylvia, I'm not sure if I'm going to go.
Can you still see the presentation?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, thank
Okay.
you.
Yes.
Great. So just to connect it to our WCSD promise, which is part of our new strategic plan, we think that we are best when we partner with our families and our community to support our kids. So working through that. And what we heard from you last spring was that really the intention and the goal of the toolkit is to provide schools high quality vetted resources to support our families in these major categories. So physical safety, that's things like code reds, emergency codes. We very much heard vaping, so we have that included in there. Substance abuse, digital safety, so keeping our kids safe on the internet, and as Trustee Church mentioned, social media, as well as emotional safety. And so that's making sure our kids feel connected, feel supported by caring adults in the community, in the building. And so we don't do this by ourselves. Our department is not the content expert on any of these things. We have many departments who will be collaborating with us and who have already contributed some items to the draft content. So our communications department, certainly our counseling department, social and emotional learning, MTSS. We've met with Roy in emergency management, nursing, psychologist, behavior, and certainly we'll want to include equity and diversity. And my colleague, Lanisha Battle, who's sitting in the audience. So what we sent to you, I believe what Sylvia sent to you via email, and we use a Word document just to help us put things together, and this is definitely not the final product. But this helps us to organize the information. So this was our beginning structure that was sent to you via email on how we believe the content should be organized. You know, our administrators are incredibly busy people. And if they need a quick resource to send to families, student, and staff, we want them to easily be able to go in a couple of clicks and look to see whether or not it's a social media post, a longer article, a blog, a website. What is the resource that they might pull out for their community? And so there are many things with this toolkit that our departments have already talked about developing. For instance, our communications department, and I see Megan Downs is in the audience. They're going to be working on social media pieces for related to explaining codes, emergency communication, and parent reunification. So they'll be working on some social media posts so that a school administrator could post that online if their parents are following, that explains the procedures and what to do and what code that school might be in. So I'm going to pause right there. I know I'm not sure if you had a chance to kind of look through this, but we would welcome any feedback on sort of the organization and structure of the toolkit and whether or not we have all of the pertinent pieces included.
I'll lead the conversation. Just from my point of view, it's great content. I love what's there. I just want to make sure that we have it available in other languages. And also hearing that social media is a big push of getting some information out there. What other outlets understanding, or what other outlets do you plan to use understanding that equitably diversing this let me rephrase that. Equitably getting the information out to people doesn't look the same. So how do we make sure that people that don't use social media are still getting the same information in another language should they need to?
Yeah, and I think that's great feedback, maybe some guidance. Our principals, I think, and our schools do use multiple forms. So we have things like classroom teachers use an app. A lot of classroom teachers use an app called Dojo that parents regularly look at. We have an app called Remind for our older students. We have Infinite Campus Messenger, which sends an email to families. We have social media, and then a lot of our schools do newsletters as well, email newsletters. And then, of course, we have Blackboard messages that do phone, text messages, and email to families. So I think reminding them, but to your point, Chair Benton, I think reminding them that there are all of these available methods to communicate, and we need to use multiple methods.
Perfect, thank you. And I don't want to limit the methods that we do use. I think each site has their preferences. Like my elementary school kid, they use Dojo for everything, but my high schoolers use Infinite Campus and that sort of thing. Rarely do I get on to Remind because that's more for the kids. So I just want to make sure that we're all getting the same information and it be disseminated correctly. So thank you for that. Vice Chair Sanchez.
Thank you guys for this presentation and pulling this together. The draft already looks really amazing, and that I know that represents a ton of work at this point. I was curious if you guys have explored some of the online options that provide resources for things like vaping, like catch.org. It provides free packets to school districts, to teachers, and has it broken down by developmental level in terms of like vaping resources, and they usually provide like a short vignette. It's usually about 4 minutes long, and have a bunch of different presentations. Something like that might be an easy thing to link to.
I just wrote it down. No, I think that's the beauty of this. We want it to be dynamic, and we want it to be continuously updated with the best possible resources that we can find. And we know that those contributions are going to come from a lot of different places. We just want them well vetted and to ensure that they're high quality resources for our families. So thank you.
Sheriff Balaam.
One quick thing, again, thank you, guys did a great job. In the physical, I watched the active emergency system, where it goes over and explains yellow and red. It may be some work, so I would throw out if you need. I know you have plenty of resources, maybe, but probably like many of us. Video, but like a video, I know parents always ask, well, what does yellow mean for my kids? It says in there, go to a safe place, but maybe a video. I know the school district, like my office, has had a lot of turnover. So you have a lot of new teachers, so maybe a video of this is what a code yellow, and with some of the schools I know I've watched, parents are like, there's all glass in my classroom, so if there was something that was going on that they could break the window, so just maybe a video of explaining that more of, so then parents could say, here's what you do if you're in the hallway or something. So, and I'd offer my video people up if you need help making that.
Great.
Because I know we're talking about that on the regional level with our regional active assailant response. We're doing a new video, so if that may help you guys, let us know.
Absolutely. And we have talked to our emergency manager, and I know some of the language has actually been updated since that video was made. So he'll be working with our communications department, but I'm sure we'd welcome your partnership in that as well.
And Delisa, you did a great job. Before I go back to you, Vice Chair, you did a great job talking about the collaboration of the Washoe County School District departments. I know this isn't just a Washoe County School District project. It's an effort throughout the community, correct?
Absolutely. So you'll see and this is very much like I have the draft really big up there, because we know we have not listed all of the things here that need to be listed, and we know we have critical community partners that help us in this work, and so we want to make sure that we're linking to their websites, and making that information really easy to find for our staff.
Awesome, thank you. Vice Chair Sanchez.
I really liked Sheriff Balaam's idea about the videos. I think that's really important. And I think it might be something useful too to have on the website a way for parents to talk to kids, if there's not already, after you've had a code read. Here are some questions, here are some things to maybe prepare for over the next couple of days, maybe being a little more sensitive to different moods, things like that. That would be, I think just from the mental health standpoint, that could help create some resiliency around when these codes come up in the classroom.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Commissioner Von Allen.
Thank you, Chair Benton. If we wanted to add some content such as Office of Suicide Prevention has free locks and free safes, medication bags for reducing access to lethal means, which would be great for parents. Who do we contact?
I was just thinking about that we possibly need a generic email that our staff can check, that people can submit, maybe something at the bottom of the website for if you'd like to submit a resource to this web page, send it here. We can vet it through appropriate departments in the district and then post it online. I know we did that during the pandemic with wellness resources for families, so I think we have a pretty solid process that we know how to follow for that.
If there's someone, as you're building it, to get it to you currently?
To myself, you
Okay.
can, yes.
Thanks, Delisa.
To any of the commissioners on Teams, I don't have you on the screen, so I can't see if you're raising your hand or typing in the chat, but if there's anything that you would like to add.
This is Liz. Yeah, hi, this is Liz Flores. Hello, everybody. I'm sorry I'm not there in person. Related to the toolkit, is it intended that any training that's associated for either staff or kids related to events that would perhaps require a lockdown or an evacuation, is that something that's contemplated elsewhere or within this toolkit?
We have talked to our emergency manager about parent university classes related to emergency codes and procedures. And I do know that, I believe that department does staff trainings continuously. So I would probably look to Roy for those questions. So it wouldn't, I mean, to answer your question, I don't believe it would be part of this toolkit.
Okay, that was more just seeking clarification. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Commissioner Flores. Any other questions or comments from the commission? All right, Delisa, back to you.
Okay, so we'd like to show you next, so that was the content, and then we'd like to show you the structure that we are proposing, but also get your feedback on the structure. Sylvia, I might need help. Might be frozen. And if we can just go to slide 6 and maybe even just click on that link, we could pull up the website. Perfect, thank you. So as you're familiar, the Washoe County School District website is a vast resource with lots of information. And I think having it located in multiple places, but that all point to the same web pages so that there's many different entry points, I think would be important. So whether it's under families and students or whether it's under your page for the commission, we think it should just be pointed to in a lot of different places. And within this, we'll also put connecting links back to our department websites because those have a lot of resources and we're not intending to duplicate their resources. We just we'll try to link everything together so it and And I'm going to let Rochelle walk you through this portion.
Thanks, Delisa.
Rochelle, before you take off.
Yeah.
Commissioners on Teams, can you see this presentation?
This is
It's
Liz.
on the
I
very,
cannot. Just the first page of the slide.
it's Leanne, same.
Thank you.
Yep.
They say technology is your friend.
It should be the second one on top.
Thank you. Commissioner Flores, are you able to see this website?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So as Delisa mentioned, we did create that draft document, and so this website is the draft of the draft document. So it doesn't include everything that's included in the draft. We just wanted to give a visual for you to see what it could possibly look like. So what you see here is the landing page, and so when you click on the toolkit website, it'll lead you to this main website. And right now we just have what's in the draft, the goal and collaborating departments. And on the left side, you'll see the navigation bar. And in the navigation bar, it lists all the safety focus. So physical safety for the building. And then when you click on that plus sign, you'll also see vaping. So we have a specific subpage for vaping. We also have digital safety and social emotional health and safety. So when we click on social emotional health and safety, this is just an example of what the safety focuses will look like. We created an app on here where on the left side of the topics, there'll be an image. So we could put the logo of the resource there so that staff or families, when they access it, they know exactly which resource it belongs to. In blue, it'll be the link to the exact resource, and in black, it'll have the description of what the resource provides. So the first one on there is how toxic stress affects us and what we can do. And this resource was actually...
We all want to give our children.
No, that's okay. So this resource was actually provided by Catherine Loudon, who is the coordinator of counseling. And so we've collaborated with a lot of our departments within the district to create this toolkit so far.
Awesome work. Thank you so much.
So if you have any feedback for us or something you'd like to see different on the structure or any asks for this section, we definitely want to co-create this with you.
I will look for the commission for some recommendations to... I'm sorry, I just lied to you. It's not an action item, so it's just for
sorry.
presentation.
Okay.
See, I too can get kicked out from under the table. Hearing that, I will tell you that I really like the sidebar. It has the 3 identified overarching categories that align with most of the goals that we as a commission have set. So thank you for looking at that from our lens as well. But as a parent, I really find what you have showed us easy to navigate. And I think that's what we want, is things to be easy, not hard. Most people, when they're accessing these things, are in crisis. And if we add more barriers to the crisis, they're going to just shut down and not want anything. So I appreciate that lens that you guys offer to us. Commissioner Von Allen.
Thank you, Chair Benton. I love where you're going with this. I really like the brain in the garden for wellness. It makes me happy, but I look forward to working with you on content from the Office of Suicide Prevention perspective. So thank you so much. It looks great in where you're at right now.
Great. Well, we will do our best. We know a lot of the, I'm already thinking about the language piece as well. We'll do our best to replicate at least the titles in Spanish. We do have some national partners that have great content in both English and Spanish. I will say just our limitations are we probably cannot translate and national partners' resources or duplicate them. So if they're not already in other languages, that would be difficult for us to do. But at least the website, we can make it available in both. We hope to have the first draft up within the next month, and then we'll definitely be working with our communications department to launch it internally with our school sites and make staff aware of it and have a QR code that goes directly to it.
All the fun technology stuff.
All the fun stuff.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Delisa. Thank you to your team for the great work.
Yeah, thank you.
That wraps up item 2.06, which takes us to 2.07. And this is the discussion of possible action regarding the safety forum and plans for the 2023-2024 school year. Again, it's for possible action. I invite up Megan Downs from Communications. But I also wanted to turn to the commission as this is our item so that we can start planning in whatever capacity we want as a commission. Megan.
Okay, thank you, Commission. I appreciate being here. To jog your memory from the June meeting, which was quite a while ago now, there were some decision points. We decided that this would be a virtual format. It was also decided that it would be in mid to late October after fall break. It was not in the motion, but there was a heavy discussion on having that around the noon hour, just because we've had the most participation during that time. There was also discussion on keeping it to one topic, just offering it once that day, but being a little more nimble, so hopefully we can decide that topic today and it will still be relevant in October, I'm sure. So that's where we were. I looked ahead a little bit, just with those parameters at some of the district discussions and just dates that worked well for us, assuming that we would like Dr. Enfield's participation simply because it would be great to have her, but also that safety and connection piece are a cornerstone of our new strategic plan, so I anticipate she would want some participation in that. I've tentatively held 2 Mondays. That was what was best for her calendar, but again, this is just hers and we can be flexible and figure out a way to record with her if it doesn't work for the commission. But I did hold Monday, October 23rd at noon and Monday, the 31st at 12:30, which, excuse me, yes, 30th, not the 31st, that's Halloween. And in terms of topic, we made the assumption the commission would be discussing that today. I know some items came up in earlier agenda items that could be relevant for this particular forum.
Absolutely. I think those dates are great. Fall time is my favorite time. Not that my birthday is the day before one of those days that you threw out there, but. And then Halloween. So, any ideas on the dates? Let's pick a date and then in the form of a motion, and then we can talk about topics. So if there's a date that works better for anyone that doesn't work, I would remind the commission that this is one of the few chances that we get to publicly display the work that we're doing as a commission, is the safety forum. So while I don't want to expect everyone to be there, it just is nice when the commission links arms and stands up and says this is what we're challenging ourselves to do, and we do it together.
30th is better.
30th is better. Is that in the form of a motion?
Why not? So in the form of a motion, October 30th, Monday, noon, and we'll still determine our item.
Perfect.
I will second the motion of the 30th as our date.
Awesome. So we have a
Misty
motion,
Allen.
a motion by Sheriff Balaam, seconded by Commissioner Von Allen. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. I lied.
Aye.
Don't vote. Please don't
Aye.
vote. Please don't vote. We need to ask for public comment.
No public comment, Chair.
Thank you. Now I will actually take a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Sheriff Balaam and Misty. Okay, we have a date, August 30th at noon. Let's talk about topics. October, I don't know why I said August 30th. Going backwards, October 30th at noon in a virtual format. And that was already voted on in a motion, correct? So we don't have to
Correct.
Thank you.
I did research it. I have looked. If anybody wants to double check my work, that's fine, but yes.
Commissioner Von Allen.
I would, two topics that keep rising, and from our spring conversation, I would say safety and social media and vaping seem enormous right now to me, but just food for thought. Misty Allen, for the record.
Thank you, Commissioner Allen. I'm going to look at Dr. Lamarca to see if we can gather content on vaping or social media.
I think we can for either. I would probably lean towards social media, and only because if you recall, Trustee Nicolette and the Board of Trustees as a group had asked for that to be part of the last safety forum, and we weren't able to include it. Vaping is critically important, but if there's one topic, that's the one that they had already asked for that we didn't get on.
Thank you. Would it be a lot of work for your team to do two topics, such as vaping and social media?
No, I think we could make that happen and just have the two tracks. I'm assuming you want to do like a 30-30 thing like we had
Well,
done
if we
previously.
do an hour, I will leave it up to the commission, but my thoughts are we do the introduction and then we do 20 minutes and 20 minutes. We do some introductions and then they can attend both sessions.
Great.
Hearing from the Board of Trustees, those are their two pressing topics for the commission, and then it will just marry both of our work.
We can make that happen. Yep.
Okay, I'm going to send it back over to Commissioner Von Allen for a motion.
Just to clarify, Misty Allen, so the entire audience will see 20 minutes of vaping and 20 minutes. We're not breaking and back and forthing.
If that's what you choose in your motion.
Oh, I didn't realize I had that much. Okay. This is Misty Allen. I would like to recommend as a motion that we do two topics, starting with an intro, 20 minutes on vaping, 20 minutes on social media, internet safety, and then a close.
Darren Bale, I second it.
Thank you. We have the motion come from Commissioner Von Allen, second from Sheriff Balaam. I would like to chime in and ask for an amendment to your motion, if we can include something in social media and screen time. I know that that was one of the things that came up during our discussion with the Board of Trustees, or we can leave it as generic as that, and then we can decide, we can work with Megan and her team to that be part of the discussion. Would you like to accept my friendly amendment?
I would absolutely. Misty Allen will accept your friendly amendment for internet safety, social media, and screen time.
Thank you.
Safety.
Sheriff Balaam?
I accept as proposed.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any public comment?
No public comment.
Still on the same topic, so I don't have to ask every time, do I? Okay. All right, we will go for the, I don't want to cancel a vote out, so here we go. We're going to go to the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. That gives us some framework. Megan, what else would you like from us on this topic?
The commission meets a second time, or in October before this meeting, correct? Okay. If there's any thoughts on who would like to moderate, I can do that now, or I can send an email out to the commission and just take volunteers. Did you have any preferences on that?
I will sign up to do it since
Okay.
I failed last time.
Okay.
It would be my pleasure to moderate.
Okay.
I can be a backup.
Okay, excellent. And then I can work with Paul and his team on experts for the panels unless there's specific suggestions of experts or organizations you'd like included.
Just from a standpoint of what's being said in the community so that we have the same message, there is a doctor at Red now and a pediatrician that maybe we can invite as the expert on vaping. I wrote that down. That's the one, what Misty said. But as far as the other, I have no recommendations. Does the commission have any idea of who an expert on social media?
I would be curious if maybe if it wasn't too much work, if someone from the parent university team could open into something like that, because I think it'd be a nice tie-in to bring people further into parent university, a little bit like a teaser of this is some of the stuff that we offer and just some of the stuff that we speak to.
Perfect. I like that idea.
And then I'll also throw out, I think we used them, not on this last year, but our, the regional internet crimes against children, because they do a lot of this in the community where they talk about safety and all of that to educate parents and students.
May I ask for a clarification?
Yes, absolutely.
And maybe I missed something in the motion, but when you started talking, I heard panel. Did we say panel?
No.
Okay, so we're not looking for 5 experts, we're looking
One
for
would
a
be great.
presenter, maybe 2 people. Okay.
And again, Megan, this will be recorded and then also able to be reviewed later in life.
Correct. We can have it ready as soon as later that day, so.
And when it comes to the safety forum, anything else that the commission is looking for? We have our time, our topics. We're going to secure some experts. Dr. Lamarca.
I know it's bad to undo motions, and so this question might be for Ms. Montalvo. We do work with Dr. Kukla on Calderon quite a bit, and he'd be great. What if he says he's available on the 23rd and not the 30th?
So there hasn't actually been a motion on those recommendations for the content experts. It was just kind of a discussion. So it's not a formal, I think, because we can't necessarily secure certain experts because we don't know their calendars. I think it was just kind of a discussion of these are some suggestions for you guys to take back, and if you can get them, great. If you can't, then there's some flexibility there.
And if the opportunity is there for him to record, and then we can have staff available that maybe are the experts. I think Megan has been open to that in the past. But great concept. Anything else from the commission? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
We're getting better at this. And we are going to move on to our closing items. We're going to reopen 3.01, which is public comment. Sylvia, do we have any public comment?
No public comment, Chair.
Thank you. Our next meeting is agendized for October 9th, 2023. And with that, I will adjourn the meeting at sometime 2:59.